Hey guys, if you like this content, I would greatly appreciate it if you guys like the video and subscribed to my channel. It helps make these videos worth it going forward. Hey guys, Altcoin Sherpa here with a crypto market review. As always, this is not financial advice. I am not an expert. Do your own research. I'm just going to be reviewing BTC and ETH today. I think it's very choppy overall. It's hard to really tell what's going on. And the market is pretty unclear to me, so I'll just say that now. I was going to review a few altcoins, but given the market conditions, BTC and ETH are really the ones to only watch right now. In other words, if BTC shits the bed and goes lower, then the entire market will just die off, in my opinion. So this is a chart that you see across a lot of crypto Twitter. This is the 1 day on BTC USD, and as you can see, a potential break in market structure with higher highs across the board with higher lows, followed by a potential lower low on April 25th and a potential lower high. And what we're seeing right now too is this low being a lower low than what was established in April. So this obviously is fairly concerning. And this structure is different than what we saw like back in January. This is quite a bit different in general than what we're seeing right now. Now, of course, what am I saying? Am I saying that we are going to go to $20,000? You know, who knows? It's crypto. Like it's possible. Like any trader that discounts it, like, you know, it's probably, I don't know. I think it's unlikely that we go to like 20,000, but never say never. I do think that it's quite possible that we go to the high 30Ks or like 40K. That's certainly possible to me. But I'm not going to really call for very low targets quite yet. I mean, this is still support. And if we look at some other BTC charts, now this is kind of, okay. So if we're looking at other BTC charts in general, where was I going with this? Okay, so yeah, let's look. I mean, right here, this entire area is just support that you can see. It first bounced initially here back in March, and then it had a good reaction in April, late April. And again, it's bouncing in this area, but as I always say, resistance and support gets weaker and weaker the more times that it's tapped. So because this area already got tapped in late April, a lot of those orders already filled, and it had a great first reaction, and then now it's bouncing again. But as you can see, I expect these bounces to get kind of weaker and weaker. It's kind of like, I have an entire video on this. Just look for the strength of support and resistance levels. I have it on my channel. Explains this concept a little bit more. But I mean, if you scale down the lower time frame charts too, you'll see these bounces are getting weaker and weaker and weaker every single time. High sell volume coming in. What would classify as absorption is if you see heavy sell volume and price is not really moving. At that point, that means that those orders are getting filled and that buyers would be absorbing all the sellers, and then price would probably go up to seek the next point of area of liquidity, which would probably be like high 50s or so. But for now, I mean, it does look bearish. You can't really, I don't know if you can really necessarily argue too much otherwise. On high time frame charts, it's still, of course, bullish. But I did a short BTC thread on this yesterday. This area in the 38Ks is really an area of interest to me. And there's a few reasons why I say this. Number one, I was like, and this is a shout out to Cold Blooded Shill, because he's the one that kind of gave me this idea where if you look at this old parabolic run in 2017, price was still able to have these big consolidation blocks on the weekly or this really doesn't look that bullish. If you look at these candle closes, look at high sell volume back in June of 2017. And again, in September of 2017, this again is like kind of not super bullish in terms of the closes. And price ended up going down about 40% from the highs. And it did this a few times too. I mean, if you look at it here, this is again 40%-ish from the highs. But then it continued its massive run. And this is kind of after some consolidation in July and August. Now, how does that compare to today? Well, something like a 40% move from this top wick here would be about 40%. Now, of course, the market's different in 2017 than it is today. Market structure is way different. The way that price moved up is different. There's no denying all that. But with that said, these types of candle closes, these aren't super bullish to me personally, because in bullish accumulation periods, you see these tight candles with very little volatility. Like classic examples are the end of the bear market in 2018, early 2019 here, and then you saw all throughout 2020. You just saw like these small accumulation areas where price is just doing a very kind of just low liquidity price action where there's just like, you know, ping-ponging consolidation all across the board. This is this right here is more classical accumulation patterns from what you see in crypto, and this right here seems not so much, just because of these crazy volatility, big moves in each direction. So 38K is kind of like the area that I would first target myself. I'm not willing to call it quite yet. I mean, this is still support until shown otherwise. Like this area around 45,000, I would like to see it hold. But I feel if this kind of 45K area breaks, and I think we see something like 38K pretty quickly after, or maybe 35K. And I say that because price usually goes lower than we expect, and it also pumps much higher than we expect as well. So as of right now, I'm just I'm still neutral, because I still think this is support until shown otherwise, but my eyes really are on 38K as like an area of interest. And if it does go to 38,000, then altcoins are going to just really die off in the short term. In order for price to find a big range, big moves have to happen, generally speaking. Like you see ranges occur after big moves on all time frames, but this is even more so. So like, you know, if you see something like this go, you know, I don't know if it quite dipped that much, then I think we would have established our range if price does spike down to like the 38Ks. I think we see something like 38K to 65K as a range, and then I think that we see a strong decentralized finance summer. That's kind of like my overall plan. So I personally lower exposure on altcoins all throughout this kind of move. Took some losses for sure, and also just took profits on longer term positions. I exited some of my longer term positions, and yeah, just rebalancing my portfolio and keeping more cash, because I think that if this happens, then we see like pretty low targets for altcoins that will be really good buys for you if you have the orders in. Let's briefly look at ETH. ETH has a better looking chart than BTC, but I will say that this ETH chart looks bearish on the lower time frame charts. It has high sell volume. It's potentially making a lower high on the 4-hour, as you can see here. And these lows are potentially about to get lost on 3,500. Now, this block here around 30 3200 to 3500 has a lot of trading activity, as you can see by volume profile. And this area should certainly give some area of support. But if Bitcoin really shits the bed, then I think that like 2500 to 2800 would be really good as a buy. That's like not that far away either. Like in terms of crypto terms, like a 30% drop, like it's not that far away for everybody that's been in crypto for a little while. I know some new people might just shit themselves if this happens, but this is like a really good buy the dip situation in my opinion. Because on high time frame charts, it's still a bullish chart. It's okay if it pulls back. You know, it's totally normal. I sold about 20% of my ETH position yesterday, and I just will look to buy back lower. But yeah, I mean, this is like a strategy you can do too. If you don't want to necessarily exit all your positions, it depends on your trading strategy. It depends on your style of trading. I am more of a swing trader, so what I'll do is I'll just take 20 to 50% of my position, sell it, and then look to rebuy back in later on at lower levels. So certainly a strategy that you can consider. There's a lot of different ones, but on high time frames, I'm still bullish, but this doesn't look really good on lower time frame charts. As I said, like potential lower high, potential lower low. And the high time frame bias is still bullish, but just really keep an eye on this kind of 32K area or 3200 area block. It's kind of pretty interesting to me. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Stay safe out there. I would keep all your active trades short myself, but that's just me. Anyways, good luck.